Peace and love, everyone. I trust you all are keeping well. Thank you so much for listening to the Mind, Body, Energy in Balance podcast. We know that there are so many things that you could be doing, and you are taking the time to listen to the show. Please share the show with your friends and your networks, and like the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts throughout the digisphere. Well, 2020, man, what can we say, right? It's a very challenging year. A lot of eruptive cleansings and purging. And, the Spirit is helping us move to understand prioritizing, right? And what is really important and what really matters in life. In this first 9 months of the year, this 9 months of 2020 has been, it just really has rocked people, communities on so many different levels, from the civil unrest and the fight for justice in this country, the loss of so many beautiful icons in this month, in this year, that we've lost, for our culture has lost, and the communities at large. We just have had a whirlwind of a year. From a spiritual perspective, however, there is a perception to life. It's not just that you are being assailed and attacked by life, and 2020 should be over and all of that. From a spiritualist perspective, everything serves to further. Even those things, and oftentimes especially those things that are most leave the most bitter taste in your mouth, right? Or that weigh heavy on your heart and your mind and your energy. These occurrences and scenarios that we are confronted with in life are often giving, if we can surmount them with a consciousness that is empowered and uplifted, then they yield great rewards and great lessons, So it's just really a perspective, and that doesn't mean that I'm immune to understanding how challenging this year has been for so many people, myself included. The sisters and brothers in my circle, like, we're all entrepreneurs, all of us. We all run our own, heart-centered, service-oriented, empowering, with the intention of empowering our customers and those people that we are intending to serve. We all run our own businesses, everybody in my circle. And so the financial grinding to a halt was just like, really, really, really challenging for many of us. The government came through with these various programs and everything, but a lot of times people from, our communities can't really take advantage of those type of programs. Don't even know where to begin, So it really is showing this year, and the occurrences throughout this last 9 months is really designed to show each of us what we need to tighten up, what we need to prioritize, and how we need to prepare for the next 20 years, the next long haul, the next level of financial success, business success, serving, leadership through service, and the rest of it. It's showing us what we need to get rid of, sweep away, what's not really necessary, and what we need to prioritize. So, again, it is really a matter of perspective, and perspective in your purpose, right? So before I go any further into that, which is my topic, perspective and purpose, and touching your purpose, I want to talk a little bit about Chadwick Boseman, that beautiful brother. The Black Panther movie was just is so real and so energetic and magnetic for our community. It just touched us in a way that, nothing has over the last 20 years. You know what I'm saying? It just really touched us and opened up opened up our heart, that place in our heart. It nourished us and fed a thirst, quenched a thirst that had been longing and looming for us. I have, as many of you know, I have a connection, a family connection with African-born Africans, right? And I was at a dinner when Black Panther first came out. We went and saw it and everything, and a couple days later, I think I've seen it in the movies at least 10 times. I mean, I was just like buying tickets like a mug, sitting front and center. And it was every time I saw the movie, it felt like I hadn't seen it at all. Because the energy of the room is a character in the film as well. So one time in particular, when my friends, one set of friends and I, we went to see it, we all went to dinner, and some African brethren and sistren met us at their restaurant, right? And they were asking questions like, well, why are y'all so hyped about this? It's a movie. Like, there's nothing real about that movie. There's no Wakanda in Africa for real. Like, nothing is real about it. And we had a very energetic and vigorous discussion at the table, right? Because it spoke to the disconnect of our African brothers and sisters, African-born brothers and sisters, and the Africans throughout the diaspora who were born in America and the Caribbean and wherever else, right? Born outside of the continent and the traditional cultures and perspectives of various of the actual continent of Africa. And so I just kind of summed it up to my brothers and sisters at the table. Listen, when you go to your country, your people who look like you faces on the money, right? Colonization is different than enslavement. Although they both mechanisms and vehicles for destruction serve those destructive purposes in terms of creating a negative and a lifelong generational destructive tendencies and behaviors of the fabric of who entire groups of people are. There's still two very different manifestations of hell. And so I had to explain to them, in Africa, your face is on the money. In the Caribbean, a lot of the countries, your face is on, we don't have our face on the money here. You have a different level of authority and a different level of wholeness that Africans throughout the diaspora, captured Africans throughout the diaspora have. We have to rebuild our connection to our wholeness, right? It's like when people compare Africans and African Americans, Africans in the Americas. Well, why don't you do what the Chinese do? Or why don't you do the way the Jews do? None of those people have had their entire wholeness stripped from them. So when we see a movie like Black Panther, in its excellence and its swagger and its electricity and its high level of intelligence, we drink and eat that ish up. We feeling that for real. How the kids say, we F with that. Right? So our dear brother Chadwick Boseman, ancestor walking amongst the royals on high. When I saw that he had transitioned, And this brother had been fighting this cancer for 4 years. He was first diagnosed in 2016, according to what I read. And he, went through countless surgeries and chemotherapies, all while he's filming all of these great works. All while he's producing all of these great works. He's going into surgery, coming out, doing a film. He's taking chemo, going through the chemo and the treatments, creating these magical works and these stellar performances, transformational performances that he has given to the world while he is dealing with this, and never moaned publicly, complained about it, and just kept it private, kept it quiet, and went to work. That is really, really, really just exemplary of, God's energy moving on the planet. That's a divine manifestation right there. But here's the thing that occurred to me during my meditation this morning, right? And I'm going to share this with you all, and you all can leave comments of how you perceive or how you feel about what I'm sharing. But I'm going to share with you what came to my spirit. September is self-care month. Hell, every month need to be self-care month. But it's specifically dedicated September by the NIH, National Health Association, National Institute of Health. What if that brother actually took the time to heal? Now, I don't know if he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't. But by all accounts, it says, all accounts said that he worked through the surgeries. He had the surgery, go to the set, or to some degree like that. That he continued to produce through all of these procedures and pharmacological treatments. For my ear, I don't hear the rest in that. I don't hear the recuperation in that. I don't hear the giving your body, your physicality, the energy and the time that it needed to really reset from the onslaught. Self-care. What if our dear brother said, you know what, I'm going to shut it down. I'm not going to be able to do this project or that project. Because I got to really, I'm looking at the long haul. So I got to really shut it down and deal with, this invasive dynamic that's in my physicality. Self-care. Now, it cannot be denied that the works that brother left behind will live on forever. As long as there's a history to be told. And in fact, I will venture to say that in the future, that movie, that energy, it will all become like mythology. It's already feeling like that. Like the great works that live on, like the pyramids and the Sphinx. He left a wonderful body of work. I'm not judging. I'm just posing the question. Because of what's been shared in my ear, I don't hear the recuperation, the recovery. I hear he worked through all of his treatment, countless treatments and surgeries. So perhaps our dear brother Chadwick Boseman, maybe Spirit said, listen, this is, you do everything because no matter what you do, you don't have a lot of time. So just do everything. Maybe, I don't know. But I do know that there's a place for caring for your physicality, caring for your mental health, caring for your spiritual health. I do know that there has to be a priority for self-care in your life. It just does. We give thanks and honor and praise to the divine spirit flowing through that persona we call Chadwick Boseman. Hey, may the ancestors welcome him and take a seat amongst the divine royalty in the inner planes. And may his good and great works live on in infinity. Hey. And may we always remember his greatness to emulation. Wakanda forever. Hey now. And it speaks to self-care, but touching and living in your purpose. Suppose, I don't know, but obviously, Spirit called him home. So perhaps our dear brother did fulfill his complete purpose. Job well done. But what about you? All of us have been assigned a purpose. Are you fulfilling that energetic covenant that you have made with Spirit to inhabit the physical vehicle that you inhabit now, your body, when you were born? We all are born with a destiny and a mission on our lives. And I encourage each of you in the sound of my voice, touch your purpose. Walk in your purpose. But don't lay self-care to the wayside. Work into your daily schedule as you go about fulfilling what you understand your purpose to be. Work into that schedule the essential selfishness of self-care. Take care of you. You need a mental health day? Boom. Schedule that ish. You need a physical health day because you feel run down, wore down. Take care of it. Take a day off and just lay on the couch and just take it down. Nourish yourself with greens and smoothies and salads. All the micronutrient giving type foods. Right? You need a spiritual health day, which really should be kind of like every single day. Every day, aligning your energy with divine spirit, because that's our source. That's how we get anything you're trying to get done. If it's disconnected from spirit, you're doing all the heavy lifting. Right? You done left out your partner. You're doing all the heavy lifting. You want to employ and really make sure the connection and alignment with spirit is there. Yeah? So touch your purpose. Whatever you, at this stage of your life, whatever you know that to be, or you have the divine, the wisdom to just tune into that quiet voice and discern even the smallest energy of your purpose. A couple of weeks ago, we had the Goddess in the Garden event. It was just plain old awesome. The energy in there was just like, whew, it was just so high, so booming, so divine. The goddesses were in the building. The gods too. The brothers came and showed out for us too. But at that event, I had, Mama Yoga's kitchen up with the black garlic and the fire cider and I had my t-shirts, the Wares, Mama Yoga's Kitchens and Wares. We had a beautiful booth. It was awesome. People came and purchased that. But I also was doing spiritual readings for people. As many of you know, I am a 30-year priestess with the Osiris tradition. I'm not formally in the priesthood anymore, but I have that many years of training, right? And I still provide those services for people that want them, right? So I did spiritual readings at the Goddess in the Garden event. And many people had like a generic question, like, what can I do to be more successful? So 9 times out of 10, the reading, when someone came with a generic question, the reading that I asked, said that I thought would be more serving to them is, what is your purpose? What is your incarnation objective? What were you born to do and to contribute? Because that is the highest vibration and the highest manifestation and the highest representative of your partnership with universal life force we call God. Your ancestors are on board for that. Your spiritual energy is on board for that. And the universal flow we call God is on board for that. So I must have done 10 or 12 readings. I don't know how many readings it was. Probably was more than that. And 90% of them were introducing people to what their life's purpose was concretely for the first time through the oracle reading. Right? The Medunataire Oracle bought from the heavens by Dr. Raul Nefer Amen is not like tarot, right? Tarot readings are wonderful, and I give praise and respect to all manners of true divination. Ifa, the Carrie Shells, all of the divination systems that people use to commune as a tool, a vibrational tool to communicate with divine source, right? I just happen to be a priestess and a thrower of the Medunataire Oracle and the I Ching, ancient Chinese oracle, right? So I was doing those readings and introducing several people to their life's purpose concretely, with a direct definitive path with its variations along the way, which they have to, discover for themselves. But you say to somebody, okay, so you were born to walk down the green street. Just walk on the green street. And as you walk on the green street, all of the different variations that you can be successful or challenged on that green street, and the tools to overcome those challenges and to amplify that success will be on the street as well. Ready, set, go. All right? So it is time this year, if it's not teaching us anything else, it is time for everyone who has the wherewithal and the spiritual maturity, the spiritual curiosity at the least, to try to discern what your purpose is. What were you born to contribute? What were you born to heal? What were you born to make manifest? Anybody not standing in their true purpose, you cannot really be the highest vibration of who you were born to be. Yeah? So our dear brother Chadwick Boseman, obviously, he served his time on this place known as planet Earth. But I do speculate, I do wonder, just a little bit of thought comes to mind. What if he would have foregone maybe one or two of those projects? Maybe one. to just say, you know what, I'm going to focus on my physical health. It is really kind of like, it's a dangerous kind of thing happening when I got this growth that is consuming me from the inside out. Maybe I need to just slow down and take care of this and give my body a chance to recover. Because I'm going to tell you, I worked on the cancer unit in Princeton for 7 years, right? I was a patient care coordinator. I was going to school to be a registered nurse at the time. And the doctors, the oncologists, used to come on the unit, be laughing and joking with each other, saying the cure is worse than the disease. Chemotherapy and radiation is no joke. It's like drinking a bottle of Drano. It completely wipes out your immune system. Completely. Indiscriminate. Just completely wipes it out. That's white folk fashion, ain't it? Their perception of peace is, we both got bombs, so we better not use them. You got bomb, you could blow some shit up, I could blow some shit up, so let's just agree not to blow some shit up. That's their perception of peace and harmony, right? So the chemo and the radiation, it indiscriminately goes through and just destroys your complete immune system, completely. And then the recovery time for the body to rebuild itself is what then helps the body fight off, well, first destroying the cancer along with your whole immune system, and then the recovery time to rebuild the body is what then restores your immunity back to health and vitality, right? So a person needs a time frame to do that. I'm not saying you got to lay on the couch, but you do have to take some very intentional steps to help your body recover from not only the cancer, but now you have no immunity. And your body's trying to rebuild its immune system, the entire immune system. So I do kind of scratch my head, especially since that energy came to me through, communing with Source, through divine meditation, right? Self-care. We have to be about our purpose. But the purpose has to include time to nurture the mind-body energy complex. It just does. Right? And again, like I said, I don't know. Spirit, that brother was, on a whole nother level in terms of his work ethic, in terms of his focus, in terms of his energetic. If y'all seen that movie, Get On Up with James Brown, Chadwick was electric in that movie, honey. Like he was in Black Panther. Like you forgot what James Brown looked like. So he was on a whole nother level in terms of his work ethic. Maybe spirit came to him. Maybe his ancestors came to him and said, look, not everybody, like Martin Luther King, I'd love to live a long life. But not everybody, that's not everybody's walk. Do what you are going to do. Because we can't promise you 60 years, 70 years. I don't know. I do know that spirit has put on my heart to share with you all who are listening, to discover your purpose and touch your purpose, walk in your purpose, but be sure to include self-care. Be sure to include a perception and a practice of holistic well-being for your mind, for your body, and for your energy. Yeah. So we want to make sure that we, even though 2020 has been harsh, and, challenging, we've lost, Black Mamba. I'm not a basketball fan. I don't know why. I just never, even though I had my uncles, and all of them, they were big. They played ball, Virginia State. West Virginia University, go West Virginia. And, I've been a football girl. I just always love football. I don't know what it is, but I love football and tennis. Those are the sports that I care for, But we lost Kobe Bryant this year, and several other people from our cultural community have transitioned this year, right? As well as the grinding halt of the economy, and small businesses hit really hard in terms of their revenue and their capacity. And we have all been forced to, as I shared in my previous podcast, pivot to prosper. You just got to come up with a different thing. You just got to touch that black dot in the middle of the pineal gland and commune with universal source, and you and divine energy ride to the next, whatever the next thing is, right? You got to just metamorphosize what you do, so that you could keep contributing, keep serving, and extracting value for that service, right? We can't be around here just doing stuff and, not really extracting the value that we need to sustain our lives and to sustain our own self-care, right? I don't know whose purpose. It could be somebody's purpose to just be in poverty. That's a karmic thing. Everybody get a wheel at that, a chance at that on the wheel of life and reincarnation and all of that, I guess, at some point. I don't have all the answers. I only share what the Spirit asked me to share. So, this year has been very challenging, and it doesn't look like it's going to let up. So we have to prepare ourselves. It takes a great deal of energy and vitality to be an entrepreneur. Like, you have to always be, you can't have an off day. You can't have a down day in terms of being an entrepreneur. You can schedule those days where you can care for yourself and not really, have to be in the business like that. You can schedule your self-care, but you can't really just have a series of days where you just want to hang off the couch. Where you just want to hang off the couch and eat bonbons and just be like, the devil may care or whatever, unless, of course, you've scheduled that in terms of a vacation and those type of things, right? So, but it takes a great deal of energy. And it takes a great deal of energy and intestinal fortitude and good kidney strength. Y'all don't play with me here now with my Qigong and, traditional Chinese medicine. Good kidney strength to just keep finding a way to find your purpose and live in your purpose, to keep living in your purpose, right? One of my favorite quotes that came to my spirit: every day is a grind towards pulling excellence out of the grips of mediocrity. Every day. Like, you just got to be about it, And that's why it's important to schedule your downtimes. So this next 3 months that we have, we coming into the last quarter. Are we in the last quarter? I think we have 2 more quarters. What's it? 1, 2, 3, 12, 3, what am I saying? Get it together, Samut. We have 3 or 4 months left, right? We're in the last quarter of 2020. You got to gather. It should be all about gathering reserves. Reserving your energy. Gathering, like the squirrels do. Getting all the nuts you can and then squirreling them away. The nuts being the finances you need, the spiritual energy you need, the mental and physical fortitude that you need, gathering and harvesting all of those components that will allow you to surmount, not just survive, but thrive when that clock hits 2021. Western time. Now, this next 4 months that we're in, September to December 31st, going straight from the fall equinox to the winter solstice, it's all about the harvest and storing. Harvest and storing. Mental health, physical health, spirituality, spiritual health, and physical, storing. And ruminating on, meditating on, contemplating, aligning with, as best you can, what you can discern is your purpose, your contribution. Yeah? Yeah. So we have to just roll with it. If you're still here, you're still serving. And even on the inner planes, if you make your transition, all them ancestors, all those beautiful, strong ancestors that we have, they are still serving as well. But in the flesh, you sure enough serving down here, Make sure you work in time for self-care, people. And tell somebody that you love them, your family, your friends, your circle of love. Make sure that they know how you feel, that you care for them, right? Because all of us got a number. You just don't know when your number going to be called up. So we should be about the business of doing what we need to do, extracting value where we can extract value, and storing up our reserves as best we can, and incorporating self-care as we move through our destiny, as we move through our purpose, and as we seek alignment with those of like minds and high vibrational energy, so that we can be a community of wellness givers, a community that vibrates excellence, that vibrates high intelligence, that vibrates love, that vibrates alignment with divine universal energies. Nashe. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune into the Mind, Body, Energy, and Balance podcast. As I say, please share the podcast with your friends and networks. That helps us with the algorithm. Be sure to like the podcast and subscribe. You can also find our podcast on Spreaker, which is a very lovely podcast platform, and we're looking to get on Spotify, as well as we're on YouTube, right? And all the links to where you can find the podcast will be, if you're listening to me to this episode on my social media, the links are in my bio as well as in the post for you to share it as well as listen, okay? And I just want to say, be kind to one another, love one another, support one another as best you can, support a small business, support a black-owned business, support a woman-owned business, and shop local. Try to get your goods as locally as you can, so we don't have to be dependent on people from 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 miles away. Let's support the local economy here within our communities, okay? Always remember, people may forget what you say. They may forget what you do, but they will never forget the way that you make them feel. That's a quote from our beloved poet and mother sister, Maya Angelou. Take care, everybody. Peace and love.